So again, thanks everyone for joining in this morning to hear us speak. Um, and again, I just want to give a brief update and contextualize the conversations we're going to be having later today. So, this piece of work that we've recently and now published up at Zenzic is a very high level strategic document. It's intended as a resource to align and prepare all of us at the CAM industry into for the next stage of sector development. And as Tim alluded earlier, it incorporates the four key pieces of information and market intelligence that Zenzic holds. Those being, for those of you familiar with our insights work, the roadmap to 2035, the analysis of the strengths and opportunities of the UK CAM supply chain, the understanding that we have into the international CAM landscape, as well as specific feedback gathered at an event at the late stage of 23 last year. And what we did with this work is we looked at all of the data we have in these assets and identified what are the most prominent and urgent topics that need to be addressed to unlock the potential for CAM at scale by 2035. And as we will present you the seven key topics we've chosen in a second, it is worth noting that we chose to take a more non-technological focus with these, as traditionally there's been a lot of investigation into the technological needs and sides of what's needed to get the CAM services and products to market. So next slide, please, Tim. Tim. Can I move one more? Sorry. Right. So, as I said, these are the key seven topics that have been prioritized based on our understanding and the robust repository of information we've got at Zenzic. So today I'm going to focus on the CAM identity, and then later I'm going to hand over to Tom, who's going to give us a breakdown onto his thoughts on the business case. And then Sam is going to share his personal experience with the CAM insurance market in a little bit. And I strongly encourage all of you to actually seek out the rest of the topics that we will not touch upon in this webinar today. By looking into the report that's available on our website. And while we identify all of these topic areas and we look into them in detail individually, it is very much worth keeping in mind throughout the entirety of today and when looking into the information that these topics, however, do not sit in isolation alone, and it's going to become very clear that these are very interrelated. Can I have the next slide, please? Right. So what's the big picture is, as I think all of us have experienced, the UK CAM landscape is quite complex. And I think trying to identify the opportunities that lie into it directly reflects onto that complexity onto the diagram that's presented on the slide that shows where the opportunity areas lie. For example, looking into this landscape, this diagram, becomes to me immediately apparent that the focal point of all the opportunity and all the effort is the creation, evidencing of this viable commercial business case, as it's the key lever to any commercial activities. However, as you can see, sitting in the center, all of the remaining pieces of the puzzle that are connected to it need to fall into place. Things like insurance products being readily available, the clear regulation needed, a common vision for the sector direction, or as we like to call it in-house, the CAM identity that I'm going to talk about today. And looking into the CAM identity, it almost sits on top of all of the other elements. And while it incorporates a lot of elements and aspects into it, to actually start addressing it, not all of them need to already be solved or need to lie in place, which is why we have chosen to start disseminating this concept with you today. So next slide, please, Tim. So what do I mean when I say CAM identity? This concept came about through our international connected and automated mobility landscape piece that looked into investigating and evaluating the CAM market of other key CAM players onto the global stage. So looking into each their individual markets, it became collectively clear that each player is exhibiting this CAM identity, whether consciously or not. And this identity is very much shaped by the technological application focus being set by both government and industry interest. It is shaped by the industry supply chain strengths, and again, when I talk about strengths, I mean the broader industry strengths of the country, but also the CAM specific ones. Um, what shapes it as well is what is the early adoption of the earliest CAM market ready elements, as well as the societal direction that is needed for those products and services. So bringing the conversation back in introspectively into the UK, great following the same criteria for the UK, it's apparent that it's lacking this common vision for the placement of CAM activities within the broader UK industry. And I think all of us can recognize that we are still at a very early stage of sector maturity. And while there are a lot of significant strides that are being taken into the development, we're still in a very fragmented development state. There's clusters of activity, but all of us are seeing this lack of strong demand at the moment and lack of strong market pull to drive up the development of the technology as well as its implementation. So to that end, the need and opportunity is there for the creation of a consolidated vision for the sector. And what's envisioned by a consolidated direction, it's a direction that leverages and is set to learn from the high value early opportunities that lie in different use cases such as off-highway, freight and logistics, passenger transit. It is about a vision that builds upon the inherent strong areas in the CAM supply chain, things that largely don't require such a high capex, such as software and engineering services, as well as a common vision that recognizes and leverages the global market opportunities that exist at the moment, opportunities in areas such as CAM-specific insurance products and services. Again, for anyone further interested into how the CAM identity has played out abroad and what the global opportunities are, I would very much encourage you to access the international landscape piece that's also available on our website. But as I said before, where does the opportunity actually lie into the CAM identity piece? And it is very much about the sector messaging on a national level, but as well as broadcasting that internationally to attract attention and to be loud and proud about the progress that's happening in the UK. And as the level of maturity right now is still low, now is the opportune time to focus on the priority applications and implementation areas without disrupting existing supply chains. And to foster the strong market pool that's needed to vitalize the demand for services and products, these services need to be aligned with the actual need of the public. And to that end, early engagement and collaboration with operators and commissioners to inform the demand prioritization for this consolidated CAM vision would ensure the eventual buy-in once commercialization is closed. And looking into the specificity of how development is clustered in the UK, yes, there's definitely the clustering of capability within the different supply chain sectors, the different supply chain categories, but there's also very much the geographical distribution of activities. And it is the case that this local and regional identities can be leveraged and used as stepping stones to create the broader UK vision. All of these opportunities are there to ensure the strong positioning of the markets just going forward. Next slide, please. So why why have I brought this to your attention today? And I'm very much not going to go through the text on the slide. It is easy to understand and disseminate. But I think what's important to take away is that the way that CAM identity I've described today, while it's intuitive to think that will be something officially agreed and signed off, it is actually the individual contributions to this vision conversation that would have the larger impact. It is very much the case that the CAM identity is a conversation to be had at every level to bring together the industry and align, especially now going into this new stage of development, into this next phase of CAM. And the need for united front is there because the more commonality in the approach and the standardization we bring to our conversations, the stronger the UK front will be and be able to achieve even greater results for the CAM sector in the UK. So with this, I'm going to shut up now and check if there's any questions.